What's up, guys? It's Benny and Amanda. We are in Amsterdam. And I was telling Amanda earlier today, 4 years ago we came here and we did two things. One, we had a really great lunch. We had like sandwiches, paninis, a little shop right off the canal. And two, we got yelled at by a dude for not having any euros. We just thought...
we tried to buy a stroopwafel.
Yeah, we were like, we're going to get a stroopwafel. It's going to be amazing. And this guy was like, cash? And we were like, no. He's like, get out. Literally.
He did say
get
that.
out.
Verbatim.
And now, no one takes cash for anything. So, yay. Anyway, we're here for a few nights, which is a miracle on this trip. I don't think we haven't been anywhere for more than 2 nights.
We actually unpacked.
Yeah.
Which
like Amanda put her clothes into a bin. Not a trash bin. A drawer. We're going to do that. You all right?
Yeah.
We're going to do... that was
Just
her.
popping my shoulder.
Good Lord. We're going to do that a couple times. We had the same thing in Copenhagen. And I feel like one other place. Somewhere. So I tried to build in some time for us to see some of the great cities of the modern world, I thought. Well, I think Amsterdam is one of the great cities of the modern world. So yeah, yesterday was a travel day, mainly. We were up in Inverness still. So we left our really wonderful abode that we were at. And we had a drive.
Our host packed us breakfast before we left.
Oh, yeah.
They made us some really great bacon sandwiches.
Bacon sandwiches.
This was like a good compromise between UK bacon and US bacon, because it was...
You mean yesterday morning?
It was like thick cut, like ham basically, but it was nice and crispy.
So they call, in the UK they call US bacon or American bacon
Streaky
bacon. Or just streaky. I don't even think they call it bacon. So here, how many times did I make this mistake where I got a burger and I was like, I'm going to get bacon on it.
And it would be like a slice
just
of
a slice of ham. And now you just got a weird situation.
That's a lot of meat.
Period. So don't do that. Unless you're into that. I am not.
Those are our travel tips. Don't order bacon overseas on your hamburger.
2. That still. So anyway, it's fine. But we basically we drove across Scotland once again. A few hours. 3.5?
About
4?
3.5, yeah.
But we got to go through Craiggorms National Park. That's kind of in the northeast of Scotland, or this way if you're looking at it, which is really beautiful. We also got to hit, I had this list of 5 little villages and towns that are very quintessential, I guess they were all Scottish towns that I had on that list. And one of them was this little town of Pitlochry. I think I just said it the exact same way twice. Meh. But anyway, we stopped, took a couple photos, found a little coffee shop, got to walk the main street for a minute. But it was very, very cute and somewhere that's kind of in the middle of the country, so it's a little, off the beaten path. But on the way there, we passed Dalwhinnie Distillery and 2, 3, 4 other distilleries. So it's kind of like taking the A82 for most of the way would be a good little whiskey trail.
Scotch and gin country.
Scotch gin. Anyway, drove to Glasgow and listened to a Dan Brown book I've been working on. Yep.
So we were all hopped up on conspiracy theories.
Yeah, love that. And flew out of Glasgow to the lovely city of Amsterdam. And for once in my life, I didn't plan anything for the evening. So we just got to come to our Citizen M hotels, which have been cool.
It's like a very hip chain of hotels. They've got like a full restaurant and bar downstairs. It's sort of marketed towards millennials, Gen Zers.
Yeah, you just get like a little iPad and you can control stuff in your room, like the lights.
Here it goes. Oh, you can see it in the shower. The shower and like the toilet are like little pods as well. So the square footage in this place is probably about the same as our bedroom back home. Oh, here we go.
Light show. Sorry, go ahead.
But it's like, kind of little compartment style living.
They're cool.
Yeah. It's
you got to be real close to who you're staying in the room with.
It's true. You got to be really comfortable
doing everything.
But no, I think the other thing that I like about it is it's really engineered towards an understanding of people who are just gonna like really use their hotel room to sleep.
Yep.
So there's lots of really great common areas. There's really beautiful hip lounges with like lots of funky furniture.
And food, drink, etc. is available 24 hours. So there's always
the coffee is really great.
Yep. All the food's been good.
Yeah, everything's been
snacks.
Great. But
they got free water still, sparkling.
You can just go and help yourself to a flagon.
Flagon?
Yeah.
I like flagon. Wow.
Well.
They call it the flagon wagon. That's where you pick up the water from.
No, really, really well. Like it really suits our lifestyle, the way that we travel really well, and all kind of based on understanding that you're not going to spend a lot of your time here. You're going to be out in the world.
Not us. Which leads us to today.
Yeah.
We got up.
Last night.
Just kidding. Not today yet.
After grabbing, I think like a subplot of this entire tour could be us taste testing all the Mexican food internationally and like rating how authentic it might be like across the board. But we basically stopped at like a place like Chipotle last night, and then we were kind of doing some research on things to see in Amsterdam. Kind of comparing like our wish list to what's possible, and like a bundle opportunity presented itself. It's called the Amsterdam.
You've probably heard of City Pass or Go City. There are a lot of options like this in many cities, but City of Amsterdam has their own specific version. And we were just having a long debate over whether we could get our money's worth or how much we'd be saving or how much is each museum. Oh.
The real appeal for us was that it included a lot of transportation. So it gives you a physical card, and you can tap it onto trams and buses and ferries, I think.
Mm-hmm. The ferries are free.
And then a lot of attractions are included. So, I think it's really geared towards a lot of folks who
there's over 70 museums.
Stuff.
Over 70 museums.
And we're outside of castles and abbey ruins. We are museum fiends.
Well, that, and we discovered that this half of the tour we did a lot of castles in the first half. This half is going to be canals and water-based activities.
Yeah.
Fjords, canals, night cruises. It's just the way Europe developed. You had to have a water system.
Those the
move the goods, the people and the goods. That's right.
Anyway, this pass really seemed to be a lot of bang for our buck, based off of like the things that we wanted to see.
So today,
yes,
we went to see.
We rode
the coffee downstairs.
We got coffee downstairs because your girl needs to pregame before.
But we're right next to. Luckily, I kind of thought that like sometimes you plan stuff in a city you've never been to, and it doesn't really work the way you think it does. So I plan to be by this little station. We're not downtown because prices are expensive downtown, and we're on the road for a long time. So we're a little bit out of the city. So I plan to be right by a station so that we can just hop on in the morning, hop on our way home. And sure enough, it worked that way both ways. So we went in to buy our pass, activate our pass. We immediately come out of the central station, walk down, and we did both the old Oude Kerk, which had a really cool coffee shop in it, to it.
Am I remembering it right? It's the oldest building in
that is
Amsterdam.
What they said.
So the coffee shop
1300s.
is attached to the church. It was just like perfect little coffee experience.
Yeah. We had to walk through the red light district to get to it, but in the morning, don't get crazy. In the morning.
We sat out on the patio and had a really nice like croissant and banana bread breakfast. And
croissant.
It's the first filter coffee I've had in like 4 weeks.
Not true.
3 weeks.
Not true.
Not since caffeine in London. That's all I'm saying. Everything else has been like espresso-based Americanos, and so for somebody to take filter coffee seriously was a gift. That's all I'm saying.
No, that's fair.
It was
The
really
gifts
nice.
are good. Then we walked through that church, which was beautiful. I think some of those wood boards in the roof were still the original.
Yeah.
Like it's a gigantic. If it was, maybe it was a situation where the smaller version was built in the 1300s. And they, much like in the UK, they kind of grew on it. But if that was the OG, it's insanely beautiful. Amsterdam is like beautiful in a way that, and maybe it's like some of the rest of Europe will be, but it's just different. It feels very different. It has a kind of a style and a thing of its own. A lot has to do with the canals, and so a lot of the houses are very skinny. They feel like kind of Chicago-esque. They're very skinny, long, like on the
you
water.
might have missed this on the audio tour tonight, but they used to tax you for how wide your house was.
Oh, I did miss that.
Yeah, I think you were taking a picture, and so it's one of the reasons why a lot of houses from like the late 1600s, early 1700s are very, very narrow. So they might even have several stories, but are very narrow. And they may even be sort of fluted where they're narrow up front and fluted in the back because they used to tax you based off of how wide your facade was.
Man, I would be very expensive.
And you were heavily taxed. The whole history of the property here has just been like heavily, heavily taxed.
Americans, we don't know what that means. When you come over to Europe, taxes aren't. Americans are like, ding, 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 ding. Here it's like, we gonna take all your money, but you're gonna get health care.
It's a trade-off,
yep.
you know?
And nice roads and canals.
Maybe you aren't having to GoFundMe for your hip replacement. So there's that.
So then we...
inside that old church that we explored, there was also a modern art museum, or exhibit, which was really, really cool.
They built their own little version of a church inside. There was also a place you could have like some quiet space and time.
Yeah, to like meditate or whatever. It was really, out of all the cathedrals that we've toured, it's been really cool to see something so old kind of embrace like some newer spirituality.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that gave the church like a sense of like approachability, or like that it didn't feel so like closed off or whatever, that it kind of welcomed anybody who was willing to just have like a moment of like meditation.
I thought the Jeopardy theme song that they were playing when we went in made it more approachable.
There was some song in there that was playing on repeat that had just like,
well, no, there was someone up there playing. They were practicing.
9 out of 10 notes in common with the Jeopardy theme song, but it was not Jeopardy.
Yeah, it was incredible.
What did we do after that?
We kept walking to the national, which we should have read up on, but the national monument, not parliament, the palace, and the Oude Kerk, which is the old church, and the Nuide, which I'm gonna make my best interpretation of, like the newer or central church, that also had a really wonderful photo exhibit in it.
It was like a National Geographic exhibit, kind of like taking.
It was an international board that like chose photos that displayed international issues.
Yeah,
across
so like
the world.
Climate change, immigration stuff, the war in Ukraine,
water,
oil spills.
Yeah.
Anything like that.
It was incredible.
The imagery was really, really
super
striking.
uplifting. No, it's very eye-opening and beautifully done, and a really nice display to walk through, and in such a grand setting was kind of incredible as well. No, I'm not talking bad about it.
Not to get too like deep, but it feels good to see issues like that represented in a church where, like, I feel based off of like my like upbringing and background that like those sort of worries or concerns about the world should have been held by the church like
a long time
from the
ago.
get-go. And so in some ways, like it's good to see like those concerns like brought at the church steps like once again, and being like, this is a humanitarian issue, this is something that like affects people globally, and how can we, as a community, like organize, or even just like on a very basic level, like connect with other people around the world and like have compassion with like suffering.
Well, at its core, isn't church really supposed to be about community anyway?
Yeah.
And it wasn't supposed to be about just your community.
Right.
But
right.
it's turned into that in some places.
Anyway.
Anywho, it was really cool. We went from there to the museums. We went to Moco, which is like the Museum of Contemporary Art.
There's a whole plaza, neighborhood, whatever, it's Museum Hill. So there's the Museum of Modern Contemporary Art. There's
Van Gogh.
There's the Van Gogh Museum.
There's a big music hall.
Rijksmusuem Music Hall. There's Cobra, which is like contemporary art. But it's
Diamond Museum. Bols.
Yep. Everything's kind of just on the same hilltop,
Mm-hmm.
with some nice kiosks for ice cream and sandwiches in between, so
Amen.
you can have like sustenance in between.
So we went to Moco, which is a museum of contemporary art.
Yep.
And we saw contemporary art.
A lot of Banksy.
There was a whole room for Banksy. There was a room for NFTs. There was a
Squat.
basement for digital art.
Am I saying that right?
Cause. What?
Basquiat. How do you say his name?
Sasquatch?
No, Basquiat.
I never heard of him.
Andy Warhol's work was in that exhibit.
Anyway, a lot of contemporary art. Very cool. Didn't take a huge amount of time to go through, but it was very visually stunning.
Yeah, really, really beautiful. At the end, there was a lot of like immersive, interactive kind of light show art. Good for the gram.
Then we went to the Rijksmuseum.
We had ice cream in between.
Well, okay. We had ice cream.
That's
Bought a
very
magnet. Okay, I didn't know we were...
We went to the Rijksmuseum, which houses 800 years worth of Dutch history.
Yeah. We went at 3, and we were like, oh, that'll be enough time. And it closed at 5. And so it turns out it wasn't enough time.
It was not enough time.
So we like jogged through to see 2 of the more famous pieces that are in there, which are Waterloo, which is
by Rembrandt, right? Did he do Waterloo?
I don't think so.
No. Anyway, it's the size of a room. It's humongous.
Waterloo Rembrandt?
We were looking at a bunch of Rembrandt art.
No, it's not his because it's a different era. Yeah.
You're right. That's there's centuries in between.
Yeah, well, it could have gotten real old.
We went from Rembrandt's floor to the floor where there was a lot of Napoleonic art, and after that, Van Gogh.
Yeah, but the really pièce de résistance in the Rijksmuseum is your boy, and his painting.
It's just a self-portrait. I don't know.
No,
if that's
not Van Gogh. Night Watch.
Oh, that's Rembrandt.
And the cool part was it's all encased because they are doing a bunch of computer and laser testing on it to figure out how to best mount it, because it is another gigantic piece of art, and you have to be very careful about what you mount it on, how you mount it on the wall, how you display it, because it moves with the air of people coming in and out of the building, the breeze of the air conditioning, like whatever it may be.
Any kind of vibration can cause, like, rubbing against whatever backing it's in. So how can you preserve the art as it sort of erodes against different surfaces?
As you were saying on our way home, the cool part is they had the computer and the testing thing all set up so that people, and the painting off of any kind of canvas mounting, it's just kind of hanging. So it was a really cool way to see the work that goes on behind the scenes on the scenes.
Yeah. I think when we were reflecting on that on the way home, it's mostly, I like seeing that stuff in the public eye, because I think anything kind of, even about like when we grocery shop, we don't always even know where our food comes from. It's always this sort of reacquaintance with everything it takes to get like to you, like whether like from a farm to your tabletop or from an artist to a museum. Like there is a lot of hidden labor in between, and so I think sometimes it's really good for us to see what happens in between so that we can appreciate it more. There also, the other thing I appreciated in the Rijksmuseum is sort of the evolution of art from like, the 1300s to the 1600s, kind of pre and post Renaissance, where people got really okay to really great at painting people, and somehow still never managed to paint a lion or a baby very well. Like the lions always kind of terrible. They look really creepy, and babies always just look like super ripped little bodybuilders.
Or they just look like adult.
Yeah, they're just miniaturized adults.
Yeah. Anyway.
But in traveling through like the art exhibits, it was really cool to see like technique evolve. Even like subjects change. You know, like a lot of people used to only paint nobility or like scenes from the Bible, and then it became more about sort of chronicling the life of the everyman, which was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I got a lot of feelings about art.
I know. I'm picking up on it.
Sorry.
It's all right. We went from Rijskmusuem to House of Bols, which Bols is the oldest, what do you want to call it?
Distiller?
Yeah, that's what they do.
Yeah.
400 years they've been in operation. And I think as Americans, we really didn't, Amanda made a joke about it earlier, or not a joke, but a comment that like we see flavoring of something and you just kind of assume
it's like cheap or artificial
sugar,
or whatever. But because of the Dutch East India Trading Company, they had access to all kinds of spices from Asia and the rest of the world, and so part of like the heritage of this company is distilling it into liqueurs or flavorings.
The heritage of Amsterdam. Really, honestly, like so much of what this city was about is because of Dutch East India Trading Company.
Yeah,
and
their
the
wealth,
buildings and
their
the
wealth
history
is built on colonizing.
Yeah. What? Shocking.
Much like the rest of the world, but
they had it. But there is a way that I perceive here that's different in that they really studied it in a way that seems to, I mean, listen, there's no good way to colonize, but there was a way that they seemed to care about it and make the most of it and learn about it. Like this guy Bols like had this giant book that they actually had in the museum experience, whatever you want to call it, like from the 1600s, where it just had every spice and thing that the trading company had found, and he could learn about it and read about it and like become educated about these things, as opposed to just taking it and being like, this tastes good, and then like like abusing it and stuff. I'm not trying to make an excuse for it. I'm just saying more than other places, it wasn't just like, let me take this commodity and exploit it. It was like, let's learn about it and incorporate it into our culture and then also exploit it. So, same end result. Anyway, I think I experienced it. Let me just say, for me, I experienced it differently here in Amsterdam, maybe because I like it a lot here, and I'm biased because I like water. That's the bottom line. And big ships. But museum was cool. We got to do our own little tasting at the end. Also cool. They had like very, I almost said sensual, like experiences for the senses, like all these things you could smell and guess the flavors, and some good like visual stuff. Anyway, we went from there to dinner. So this Amsterdam card also gives you discounts at certain restaurants.
That's how we ended up at House of Bols as well. It was an attraction listed on our Amsterdam card. And
so we got some, I got some ramen.
Yep.
You got some pad thai. Then we had, we were holding a ticket for...
also on this attraction was free entry and a free drink at the local casino. So that's where we went after dinner. I'm not a huge fan of casinos. It's kind of like... We walked in and
Amanda was like, this is my nightmare.
It's kind of my personal hell. It's like...
I was like, we have an hour to kill and it's next door to the restaurant. Oh, and next door to where we're getting our evening cruise. So let's just go drop a few bucks in.
That's the thing. It's like you're going to go set some money on fire, and it's a place that's loud with like lots of overstimulation. But like I know I probably did not mask it very well. I really don't want to like yuck somebody's yum. Like when we were in Las Vegas a few years ago, Ben would gamble every single time I went to the bathroom. So like
because there were slots by the bathrooms.
Anyway, so
how'd it go?
Tonight? You tell me.
I don't know.
Oh, come on.
It went pretty well.
Ben found a machine that treated him very well.
Okay, well, not crazy well, but listen, we played penny slots and ended up with a bunch of pennies, which is good because this trip is a lot of pennies. So anyway, we left. We went to our evening Amsterdam canal boat cruise. It was an hour and a half. I thought it was just an hour.
Yeah.
But it started at 9. It took us around the entire city, it felt like. At least one of the big loops. We saw everything. It had...
And it was really beautiful because everything was lit up.
Yeah, the night we have a few night cruises. One in Hamburg and one in Cologne as well. And Amanda and I think we both just enjoy, like, sitting and learning about the city. It's a great way to see a skyline and pick out certain buildings and learn the history. And, like, I thought it was really neat. And that was kind of it. Then we came home. And that's it. We got one more day tomorrow in Amsterdam. Because it's a freaking miracle that we're somewhere that long.
We have another day to...
More museums and canals.
Blood from the stone of our Amsterdam cards.
I Amsterdam.
So we'll go see a few more museums and...
We don't know what we're doing yet. That's what we're going to figure out right now. Yep.
Yeah.
See you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.